Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending where you are in the world. Welcome to our first AAA live community event. This is a new series that we've started, and my name is Sandy Reedboss, and I'm the Senior Program Manager for the Customer Partner Success Team, and I'm in charge of the Power BI community. So we're very excited today to start this new series of events called AAA, where we have kind of AAA squared. We have Amanda, Amir, and Arun joining us live over the next several weeks to talk with you. And today we have Amanda, who is going to share with us the next desktop updates. So this is something that we're quite excited about, and first time we're doing this live in the community, and it is an exclusive event that only people with the reservations and the invite got to come to this event. So you will be hearing about things before the rest of the world, and we encourage you to go ahead and tweet about them, talk about them. And next week, Amanda will be doing the actual full release to the public, so feel free to share whatever information you want beforehand. And what we'll do is Amanda will do a demo for the first portion of the meeting. When she's done with her demo, we will go into the Q&A portion. And what you can do is post your questions over in the chat window. And when we go to Q&A, we have a team of people who will be posting these live, and I will be reading them off to Amanda. And we have many attendees coming to this call, so we know we're going to have more questions than we can get to. But we will be following up afterwards. After this event, we will be posting all of the questions with answers in the community. So we'll be posting that probably within the next week so that we can get all your questions answered. So with that, we are going to go ahead and transfer this over to Amanda. So please welcome Amanda. Hello, Amanda.
Hi, thank you, Sandy. Just as a quick introduction to everyone. If you don't know me, my name is Amanda Koski, and I'm a PM on the Power BI desktop team. And I'm here to give you a sneak peek into the November 2019 update of the Power BI desktop. It should be going out sometime next week, so everything you see here, don't go hunting for it right now on Power BI desktop. It's not going to be there, but it does make it very exclusive, so you guys get to see everything before it comes out. We have lots of good features coming out this month, and the first one I'm going to talk about is what we're calling our new modern ribbon. We have been started a journey to modernize the experience of Power BI desktop and make it feel more part of the Microsoft and Office brand. And so you saw that first steps with our new panes that we have that are in the lighter colors. And this month, we also have a new ribbon. If this ribbon looks familiar to you, it's actually the exact same ribbon that exists in Office today. Like if I open up an Excel file real quick and I compare things in the two ribbons, you'll see that a lot of the icons are the same. Like the Get Data button in Power BI Desktop is the same Get Data button as it is in Excel, and we share a lot of the same icons and also the same configuration for it as well. So we've updated the layout of the ribbon to make it more intuitive to where things should be. So for example, if you want to go and change, say, the theme of your report, you'll find that under the View tab, which is also where you would find it in PowerPoint. So if you know how to use the find functionality within PowerPoint and Excel, you know now you'll be able to easily find it just as quickly in Power BI Desktop. By using the Office ribbon, we also get the nice controls that Office has as well. So, you know, we have this nice theme gallery here, which is much better than, I would say, the old drop-down we had to switch between themes. Now you can actually see what the themes are going to look like before you apply it. I could tell right away that the Innovate theme was going to be a dark theme because I could see the dark background here. And I could see, for example, the nice little background image that's popping up for my title theme. So nice new control types that are just more intuitive to use, in addition to the new look and feel. The new ribbon is also very dynamic, so we can actually now adjust what we show in the ribbon based off of what view you're in or what you have selected. So for example, if I open up the old Power BI desktop, the one in October, you would actually notice if I switch over to, say, the data view over here, a lot of the buttons are just disabled because it doesn't make sense to add a new page or a visual in here. But we couldn't before actually hide them. So there's just a ribbon full of disabled, useless buttons, to be honest. But now when I go into the data view, we actually have a different layout for the ribbon that is geared towards the view you're in. So nothing here is disabled. You can use the new measures, add new columns, all right here in this main ribbon. You'll also notice that depending on what you have selected, we also have these dynamic tabs that are geared towards what you have selected. So if, for example, I select, say, a measure in my model, you'll see that this new Measure Tools tab pops up, and I can click on it and get to the controls that are specific to that measure I selected. Before, you would have to go and hunt for the options that were probably disabled until you selected something and then figure out which of the tabs has it. But now it's going to be very clear because they're bright yellow, stand out, and is only visible to you whenever you select on that measure. We also have some nice, another nice capability that we get for free because we're using the Office ribbon, which is this, you can also switch between this multi-line ribbon, the nice full one you're used to using, and a single line ribbon. And so this is really good if you want to continue, working with Power BI Desktop, but you need just a little bit more room for whatever you're doing. You can collapse the ribbon, still have access to everything, but just have more working space. This ribbon is also just our first iteration in terms of upgrading our ribbon. We have a lot more planned for it. Some things that by taking this step to integrate the Office ribbon that we can now do in a future update. So not this one, but in a future one, some things we want to do include continuing to add those different controls that Office has. So for example, in Excel, you have that visual gallery in the ribbon. We'll eventually want to move our visuals from the pane here to the same location. So again, if you're used to working in Excel, you'll feel comfortable working in Power BI as well. We also, this is our first step towards being able to do things like the dark gray and black themes that Office has for their UIs. So now that we have their ribbon, we can start planning the work for that. And also we're going to have even some more improved accessibility for the ribbon as well. So first iteration, do let us know what else you'd like to see improve about the ribbon. If there's something you think makes more sense somewhere else, or some feature you see in Office that you would like to see replicated here, do let us know because we do want to continue to work on it. Jumping back to our list, the next feature is a reporting feature that is probably pretty exciting to a lot of you. It's been in our user voice site, ideas.powerbi.com, where you can go to vote and suggest features to us. For quite a while, it's been up there. It's kind of varied between spots 1 and 3 for quite a long time. It's the decomposition tree. We're really excited to have a preview for this visual. So the decomposition tree is all around being able to look at, see how individual categories in a group basically contribute to the whole. You can decompose and break down the group to see how the individual categories rank in terms of contributing to a specific measure. It's kind of similar to what you would want to do with a table, but way less manual. In a table, you're clicking and expanding different nodes. You're trying to figure out what contributes the most to, say, in my case, sales amount, but you're having to, do all this work yourself to figure it out. And it's also very static because the hierarchy is predefined by the author. And so if the hierarchy doesn't quite make sense to you as a consumer, you're kind of just stuck with it. But with our new decomp tree, which you can add through this little icon here, once you enable it in the preview features, I zoom back out. You'll see that this is what the visual now looks like. You have an analyze bucket and an explain by bucket. You'll put the measure that you want to break down in the analyze bucket, in my case sales amount, and then everything else you pile into the explain by, and then you can just start picking using this plus button what you want to break down by. So if I click plus, I can pick any of the fields that I have in the explain by bucket. It doesn't have to be the order I drop them down in. So if I want to specifically look at, say, sale size, I can do that. And the tree will then break it down, and it will show me sale size at the top here, so I know for sure which one I picked. And it will show them from top to bottom, from the one that contributes the most to the category within sales size that contributes the least. And I can continue to click on different fields in here to expand my tree. And again, can be in any order. I can also then decide to, let's say, remove sales size because I now want to see it just by country, and then follow up with, say, color. And so I can continue to do this interaction as much as I want, expanding and collapsing. The tree can grow quite large because we have zoom functionalities. You can zoom out and in and pan around within the visual to see different components of it. And everything I'm doing here, by the way, is something a consumer can do as well. It's not just an author clicking out the specific path they want to see and then saving it, and then sending it to a consumer to look at. A consumer can go and do all of these different interactions themselves as well. We also, of course, wanted to add a little bit of a splash of AI to this visual. So you'll notice that in the plus option here, there's also high and low value. What these will do, it'll look at all of the possible categories that you have left in the possible to extend the tree. And it would find that wherever this metric I'm looking at, in this case, sales amount, is going to be highest, and break it down by that one. So if I click that, I will see that class was the one that contributed the most, and specifically regular amount within there. And then I can also go low value, and of course that's going to be the opposite of it. So it'll figure out whatever metric is the lowest. And these are actually dynamic. So as your data refreshes, as you change filters and slicers, if something were that specific with the new data or that specific filter is actually the highest instead of class, the decomposition tree will actually update that to show you what specifically is the highest for that filter. So 100% dynamic. You'll also see that whenever I'm using these AI features, you get a little hint that it is an AI feature with a little light bulb right next to it. And also the leader line between them is dotted to indicate that's something we auto connected for you because you were looking for, in this case, the lowest. So it connected me all the way down to yellow. We also have I mentioned that as an end user, I can choose to, expand and change out what's happening. But if you really want, say, users to, as an author, users to be able to not change first country, you want them, they can play with however much they want after that, but the first breakdown has to be country. We also provide for you a lock icon here as an author, which you can click on. And once you've locked a level, you'll see that the X disappeared. You can no longer remove that level. And that would be true for your consumers as well. Since this is a visual in Power BI, of course, it has some things you would expect. So for example, I can click on any of these to cross highlight. So let's say I wanted to look at the products that were here. I can click here and then see all the specific products in this table right next to it. I can also, theme it. So if I go back to my nice new theme gallery and I switch over to, let's go with the temperature theme, you'll see that of course the decomposition tree updated to respect the new theme as well. And there's some nice formatting functionality available as well. So you can do things like change the primary color, figure out, set a different connector type. So instead of the default, if you want the lines to be more rounded, you can do that. You can control the density by default of the tree. So if you have a lot of categories you're going to be expanding, you can make it more dense. or more sparse, depending on what you're looking for. And you can also, for the data bars, change both the positive and the negative colors as well. You can also choose to bookmark different states of this visual as well. So if there's a specific configuration that you want to be the default, but you still want people to play, a good use case of bookmarks might be to bookmark the default state for the tree and just give them a button on the screen to reset it back to that view after they've played. So you can also use that, of course, to tell stories or have different unique interactions in combination with all the other things that you can bookmark. This, like I mentioned earlier, is also a preview visual, so be sure to let us know what else you would like to see added to the decomposition tree before we make it generally available. Jumping back to my PowerPoint deck, the next feature we have is conditional formatting for button formatting. So if you watch the updates for Power BI Desktop fairly regularly, you'll probably have noticed that we have almost every month a conditional formatting update for you. We are on a goal. It's going to take a little while, but we have a goal to make everything within the formatting pane conditionally formattable at some point so that you can change all the different formatting properties dynamically. And this month we focused on buttons. So if I go back to my demo here, and let's say I want to add a button that will let people, say, Bing more information about whatever category they're looking at. If I go to the Insert tab and I add myself a button, let's say the info one, oops, and I drag it down to my space I reserved for it. I've already been able to make the action URL. In this case, I have this measure that basically just searches Bing for whatever manufacturer is currently selected. I've already for a while been able to set that conditionally so that I can have dynamic URLs. So I'm just going to set that up real quick. And that's nice that I can make that dynamic, but it's not necessarily clear because it's dynamic to an end user what this button is going to go to. It might be more helpful if I can actually open up that thing, which I've already done actually, the tooltip itself dynamic as well. So if I, let me convert this to default. I skipped the wrong clicking. Sorry about that. I wanted to make the action itself dynamic, so I've now done that. But you've now seen that you can also make the tooltip dynamic, and so that means the text that I show on hover would be dynamic as well. And so maybe I can pick the same measure, and now when someone hovers over the button, in addition to knowing that, let me filter down to say a datum, that this button is actually going to go specifically to this URL, so they know in advance before they click on it what's going to happen. And I could also make the button text dynamic as well. So if I wanted the text here to say, also tell them that they're going to click on, when you click on this button, you're going to learn more about, say, a datum. I can also use a text measure to dynamically change the text as well. So in my case, I have a measure that says learn more about, and dynamically it sets the manufacturer. And so then as I change different manufacturers through my drop down here, I'll see that I can search actually about Contoso versus a datum. And so by changing the measure tooltip, or changing the button tooltip and the button text, I'm able to, give more information to the user before they click on the button about what's going to happen. And you can also now do that for the format, in addition to the text itself for the tooltip and for the text that you see, you can also do it for, say, the font color or the background color of the button or the icon, in this case, the fill color. You can control the formatting for all these things. And so even if you say, in this case, I wanted to also change the formatting of the button to match the brand colors for each of these different manufacturers, I could do that. Another use case could be potentially for the formatting, to be able to make a button look disabled or enabled depending on certain states of your report. So again, we are continuing. This is a long journey, so you'll be looking future updates, and you'll also see some more conditional formatting improvements coming your way. We also have some updates, which I'm not going to demo, for the ArcGIS map for Power BI this month. This visual has 3 updates specifically. One is that the visual now supports connecting to ArcGIS enterprise servers when you're using the built-in authentication. That's been a big ask, so excited that that update has come out. The visual also now supports geocoding more points. So if you're using the free version of the map, you'll get to geocode up to 3,500 points for free. And then if you're an ArcGIS subscriber, you can do even more. You can actually go up to 10,000 points. And then lastly, the third feature that's updated this month is that if you are an ArcGIS subscriber, you can now get the full Esri technical support for the visual. So if you're having any issues with it, you'll be able to take care of it using the same support that you would for any other Esri product that you happen to be using. Under data connectivity this month, we have a LinkedIn Sales Navigator connector. Sales Navigator allows you to access, in case you don't know, the power of LinkedIn's 630 million plus member network to help sales professionals find and build relationships with both prospects and with customers. And so using this connector, if you are on the enterprise plan and are either an admin or a reporting user role, you'll be able to pull that data into Power BI and actually visualize it, which can be very helpful. We'll also be releasing a template app soon connected to it, so you won't even have to actually manually build out the report yourself if you want to take advantage of the template app. Our Edit SAP Variables experience is also now generally available. We released that a couple of months ago, I believe, and it's really nice because it allows reports consumers to edit SAP variables in the Power BI service. And so we had it out for a couple of months. We got lots of feedback around it, and now we feel comfortable making the feature generally available. In addition to this making a GA this month, it also is now supported in non-premium workspaces. So that's another benefit that's coming this month. Under data prep, we actually have a really cool update in terms of the Power Query Editor, in that you can actually go into here and actually use in PQ the different AI transformations. So if you see here in the ribbon that there are 3 options here: text analytics, vision, and Azure machine learning. And you can select any of them and be able to take advantage of, when it loads, you'll be able to see a couple of different things. Like you could be able to find the sentiment of, say, comments that you have in your data, or you can find key phrases, you can detect the language, and you'll be able to use these, assuming that there is one caveat. Your report will need to be in a premium workspace. This feature does require premium, but assuming that it's going to get saved there, you'll be able to take advantage of these different text analytics features that Azure ML supplies. Also, you can use cognitive services to have different vision related things done to your model. And also you can take advantage of any of your Azure machine learning models directly in Power BI desktop as well. And then lastly, the last feature I was going to talk about is that our Web by Example connector has a new capability in that it allows you to actually support extracting links. If you haven't seen our Web by Example feature, it's pretty cool. You can go in, and whenever you're connecting to a website, like, hopefully my typing skills don't fail me, https://powerquery.microsoft.com/en us/resources. And then hopefully my internet connection doesn't fail me. You'll be able to, in addition to being able to see any HTML tables and connect to those directly, you'll be able to create your own table by giving examples. So I can click this button, and all of this is already there that I'm showing so far. You can click the Add Table Using Example button, and you actually switch to a view where you can see the web page and then type in examples. So for example, I can add the author of these Power Query books, like Gil and Kin, and it will automatically fill in the other two for me. So it figured out what my intent was of finding the authors. And then let's say I want my next one to be the title M is for Data Monkey, and I click that, and again it will auto find it. What's new with this month is that you can also get URLs. So all of these have a Learn More link that goes to different places about the book. I can actually go in and type in the URL for it, and you'll actually see it will find all the URLs on the page. In this case, there's quite a few, but I know that this one is by datachant.next. Oops. And again, I can find all the URLs, continue to type them out, and be able to autofill in this and pull in the URLs for my view. So that just makes this feature even more useful, in that you can also now have URLs that you could then reuse in your report for Power BI. So that's all of our features for this month. At this point, the plan is to move into an Ask Amanda Anything segment. So hopefully you've been submitting questions. If not, now is a great time to start submitting them.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amanda.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and go with our first question, which is from Dilip Reddy. And he was very first. He was actually before our session started. His question is, we as an org are using hierarchy slicer, not certified. Is there any alternate for the slicer which is more reliable?
Well, good news is that we are actually working on adding hierarchy support to our own slicer. So not this release, obviously, or would have demoed it, but in a future release in just a couple of months, you'll be able to add as many fields as you want into our slicer and create the hierarchy and expand and collapse it. And of course, given that it's part of our native slicer, you'll get all the great capabilities that come with it, like being able to print and export to PowerPoint and sync slicer, and all of that will just naturally come because it's built into our own.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much. Our next question is from Paul. I like the heads-up preview of features, but given that Power BI Desktop is starting to follow the look and feel of O365, is there any idea on having preview features being launched within the Office updates if you're on, for example, the monthly update, or as this could be challenging for organizations, split Power BI Desktop between a beta equals monthly or more frequent and a regular product version?
Yeah, that's an interesting request. I do think with the monthly updates, not all organizations choose to update every single month. Sometimes they'll roll up, they'll wait a few releases and then deploy a specific one. So for some people, you don't have to update if your organization isn't at the same pace as every single month. Also, a lot of these features we do choose to preview. So the modern ribbon, the decomp tree, even the AI functions in Power Query, they are all preview, and so you can choose to opt into them or not, depending on how comfortable you are. And so by choosing preview or not, that kind of gives you the power to decide, do I want to be on that early band and experiment with all the new features, or do I want to stick to just what's already generally available? And so it's kind of in your hands. It's a little bit different than how Office does it, but it is still, you do have some level of control.
Okay, perfect. Our next question is from AJ. He said, dark mode on Power BI desktop anytime soon? Question mark. Seems like this is a common thing we get from people.
Yes, we definitely have heard the feedback that dark mode is a thing you want. And we do have it on our roadmap. I don't have a specific release to tell you yet, but we are working our way towards that. So when I demoed the ribbon itself, that was actually a prereq, you could say, to be able to work on that, because with our old ribbon, that we couldn't actually dynamically change the formatting of it based off of, say, a theme that you set for the UI. We just couldn't do it. So we are working towards that, and so you will see in a to be determined future release, you will definitely see a dark mode and all the themes that Office has available to you at some point.
Wonderful. Okay. So from Brigi, hi Amanda, Power BI is changing so rapidly. When is the right time to go for a certificate?
I would say, honestly, any time that you feel comfortable is the right time. We aren't planning on necessarily slowing down, so it's not like you can, I'm just going to wait until they stop releasing every month and then I'll go. That's not going to happen. Right. So you kind of have to, decide when it's right for you. We do update the certificate course occasionally. So as long as you have but most of it is just foundation of Power BI. Like, do I know how to build out reports? Do I understand DAX? Do I understand M? So, and those basics do not change. We add more reporting features and we add more options, but at the end of the day, DAX is DAX. And so once you feel like you have a really good, base understanding of the product, then that's probably a good sign that you're ready to take the certification. I would also say we do offer a lot of training on our site, so powerbi.com. You can go and take our guided learning course, and once you've done that, that's, I don't know, probably 70-80% of the certification, and then the rest is just like learning more advanced DAX or learning more advanced M. So that's a good starting place as well.
Great, awesome. Okay, our next question is from Danny Dennison. Hello from Greensboro, Georgia. Seems the gap between Pro and Premium is quite large and would like to know if or when some premium features may be available for Pro users, specifically incremental refresh, paginated reports, and data flow features.
I'm not going to comment on any specific ones, but I will say in some cases, it's just there's really two options in terms of like any given feature in terms of premium versus pro. Sometimes they are intentionally going to be a premium feature, there might be additional cogs involved on it. And so, it makes sense that that's going to be just a premium feature. If you want to use it, you need to use premium. But then there's other features. Incremental refresh is a good example of that one, of this other case, where it's just easier for us to do it in premium first. And so we focused first on premium. We got it out there. We're taking in feedback. We're developing the feature. And then eventually we will move it to pro as well. No timeline for that, but it is in the plans to eventually not limit that to premium, but also include it in pro. So sometimes it's going to be premium only, and sometimes it's going to just be a stepping stone to being available in pro as well. Okay,
great. Our next question, we have a few questions here about decomposition trees, so we'll focus on these right now. Okay. The first one is from Wim. He says, is the decomposition tree available in the service, or is it just available in Power BI desktop while it's in preview?
You'll be able to use it in the Power BI service, but you're first going to have to go and turn it on in Power BI desktop. So once the November release comes out, you can go get the desktop, turn on the preview, insert the visual onto your report page, save it, and then publish it. And then any of your people who have access to your report can then start playing with it. So, and this is generally true for most of our preview features, is that you have to start in desktop, but then you can use them in the service.
Okay, great. Our next question on decomposition tree is from AJ, And he's asking, is it possible to expand all the options instead of one at a time?
Not right now. You can only, if I jump back to my view, you can only, oh, I did not close out Power Query. Let me do that real quick so I can show you. Last window. There we go. You can currently only expand out one node of the tree, but that's really good feedback that you want to be able to do multiple at once. So I'll definitely pass that along to the PM owner for the decomposition tree.
Okay. Our next question is from Anonymous. Does the decomposition tree support filtering before starting? So you may do a decomp tree on just a single division or department.
Yes. So you can use the filter pane to do that. So if you want to specifically filter to, what do I not have in here? Let's say I want to filter to sale size as medium. I can do that in the filter pane, and then now the decomposition tree is just focused on my medium sale sizes. And if the nice thing about our filter pane is that let's say you want it to stay that way and you don't want people to modify, the end users to modify that filter, you can use the handy little lock icon to lock it so the consumers can't change it, and you can even choose to hide it so they don't know it's there, potentially, depending on what your use case is.
Nice. Okay. So from Hans Christensen, the decomposition tree is a very nice feature. Is it the same component as in ProClarity Performance Point Services, or is it brand new?
We definitely took inspiration from ProClarity Performance Point, but it's not like we took the exact same code and pasted it in. We built it up from scratch, looking at what people did back in the day with ProClarity, and also what people have been asking for now, and also, adding in that splash of AI that we have. So definitely new, but, stand on the shoulders of giants. We built off of what we knew people loved about the old decomposition tree.
Awesome. Okay, Matt Floyd asks, will these new preview features work in Power BI service?
Yes, they will. So depending on the preview feature, the decomposition tree, like I mentioned earlier, you can, once it's added to your report, you can save it, publish it up to the service, and it will work. But you do have to turn on the preview feature. The ribbon is unique to the Power BI desktop. So even the old ribbon, when you viewed your report in the Power BI service, we had the app bar instead of the ribbon. So, that app bar that is in the Power BI service today is still going to be there. You just have the ribbon because it's desktop specific. And then the AI capabilities in PQ, which was the other preview feature this month, it will work in the Power BI service, but going back to my caveat when I was demoing it, it is a premium feature, so you're going to have to make sure you publish your report to a premium workspace, and then it will use that capacity to run these AI functions.
Okay, great. Another AI question from Anonymous. Will this AI feature be available for reports in embedded capacity?
Oh, goodness, I do not know. But as Sandy mentioned at the start, we will be giving we will follow up with all the questions later that we don't answer, so I can follow up on that one for you.
Awesome. Okay. The next question from Anonymous. Is there a way to import in a custom font?
So custom fonts, there is a way we don't support import, so I'll just answer your first question directly, and then I'll give you an alternative. We don't currently support importing fonts into Power BI like you can do in Office. It's good feedback. I would suggest voting on the idea, because I do believe there is one at ideas.powerbi.com, so we can figure out how much interest there is in it. But for now, one thing you can do is use theming to add in your custom fonts. Let's say you have a corporate font. So everyone at Contoso has a very specific Contoso font that Contoso design team made, and you want to use that in your reports. You can make an assumption that everyone who's viewing your internal reports probably has that font installed automatically from your IT department. So what you can do is when you're writing up a JSON theme file, you can, just like you can set one of the predefined fonts like Arial or Segoe UI, you can put the name of your custom font there, and we'll actually look on your computer and reference what's there to load whatever font needs to be used to view a report. So that's an alternative that you can use, assuming that you can make that key assumption that everyone's going to have it installed automatically.
Okay, great. The next question from DM, will the ability to change the data label background color for pie charts be added at some point? Also, will the name of customized JSON theme files be shown in the new ribbon?
I actually don't know if it's shown in the ribbon. If I can test that real quick.
If you hover over the theme icon, you should be able to see the name of the theme in the tooltip.
You can definitely do that. Let me just browse for a custom theme real quick, and I will show you that. And while I'm doing that, what was the other questions? Can you remind me, Sandy?
Yes. Let's see. Can you change the data label background color for pie charts? Will that be added at some point?
It's not on our immediate backlog, to be honest, but that's really good feedback, and we can definitely look into it as in a future release. No guarantees. It doesn't look like my custom theme has a tooltip yet, but all the built-in one does. So that's good feedback that we can add that in for the custom ones as well.
Okay, great. Another question. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to repeat what I said earlier of the pie chart data labels, not on our backlog, but good feedback. So thank you.
Perfect. Another comment from Anonymous. Love Power BI! Exclamation point. We do too.
Hey.
And just wondering if there's any future plan to bring the current ability to customize Excel graphs and visuals to Power BI for parity. For example, tweak white space padding, gradient fill, shadow, line styles, etc.
I would say a lot of the end goal, the end-to-end goal, which will probably take a long time, but it is the end goal. Eventually, we would like to see parity between what Excel has and what Power BI has in terms of reporting and visual formatting. But do keep in mind, Excel has been around for decades, and Power BI is pretty new, so it's going to take us quite a long time to get there. We do try to, add in formatting capabilities that we know are missing as much as we can within the greater backlog that we're working on. And then there are a few specific features that we do have on our list. I really would love to add like shadow effects, for example, to visuals, or the textures to bar charts. No timelines given here, but that is on our backlog to add at some point. So do know that we are going to continue, expanding our functionality.
Okay, great. All right, do we have some more questions coming from our moderators? Can you push some through, or should I just start picking them? Because we have lots of questions out here. Let me go ahead and find another one here. Are there plans for exporting themes from desktop to support more user-friendly creation of themes instead of having to build it all in JSON?
This is my favorite type of question, one I have a really good answer for. We actually are actively working on a feature that will allow you to do a lot of at least the common functionality of editing themes. So like, setting the data colors or setting like global font colors and families. We're working on a dialog that you'll be able to actually pop up from the ribbon and set all of those. So that's one thing we're doing, so to make it easier. You'll still have to go to the JSON file for the more advanced functionality, like I need to turn on the, the exact donut size radius that I want, or like, those visual specific formatting capabilities will still require JSON, but global settings you'll be able to actually directly set in the product. And then we also are adding in addition to that, that dialog, we're actually going to add a button again in this nice gallery. There'll be another option here to be able to download the current theme. So let's say you build that custom theme using the dialog. You can then download it and add that one line into the JSON to change that donut radius and then re-import it. So, we're definitely trying to make theming easier. I would also mention that there are, in the meantime, while we're still developing that feature, there are community members who have built out theme generators as well. So PowerBI.tips is one, and there are others in the community as well, where you can go and use their experience to edit, use a UI to then download a file. So that's available to you today.
Right. And I also want to remind people that we do have a themes gallery in the community.
Ah, yes.
Yes, so please go out there and share your themes, share how you're using them, inspire others, and get inspiration from others about themes.
Yeah, and there's actually a link to the themes gallery from this dropdown as well, so feel free to click on that anytime you want inspiration or a new theme. Just click there and we'll take you directly to the right place in the community to get that.
Awesome. Okay. Our next question is from Max Wilkstrom. Are you planning to remove the limitation for font sizes? I think it's minimum 8 at the moment. And X and Y size of elements, visuals, pictures, etc. I think it's around 40 at the moment.
We aren't planning on removing the minimum sizes for font size right now. Once you go below 8, things tend to get a little more. Browsers don't render them as well, to be honest. The smaller you go, the worse a browser will render it. So right now we're sticking to 8 as our minimum, but good feedback that you are trying to make things smaller. And then in terms of the minimum visual size, again, no specific plans on that. I have seen people do you can do things like the difference of what you can type in the general card versus what you can do when you're resizing something is slightly different. So I have seen people do some tricky things to make things smaller, but generally the minimum we have now is the minimum we're sticking with.
Okay, great. Our next question is from Christian. Will we ever be able to get the ability to make clickable tooltips on hover?
So I'm gonna make an assumption about what you're asking about. I'm assuming you're using the report page tooltips today to build your own custom tooltips to show on hover for things. And right now our plan is to not make them interactive. It's, to be honest, going to be honest with you, it's a decent amount of work to make them interactive because there's just a lot more we have to be concerned about. If you can go and actually click on mini bar charts in the hover tooltip or click on buttons in there, it's more we have to be concerned about and worry about and make sure nothing breaks. So it's a decent amount of work. We aren't planning on doing it now, but if it is interesting to you and you have really good scenarios for why you want it, do please put them in user voice because it's not impossible. We could choose to do it. We just need to understand what people are trying to do with it to make sure we develop it in the right way.
Okay. The next question is from Gopa Kumar. When will the ability for report consumers to change the chart types, change access, etc. come?
We are working on it. I'm not going to give you a specific date, but it is something we are actively working on. As you can imagine, it's quite a big feature. So we did demo. If you want to see it, you can see the demo that we did at MBAS this past, June? Was June. That when MBAS was? Yes. You can go back. The demo is on our YouTube channel, so you can go and see the demo of it. But we put it in the last category of things that are more future looking, no specific date, but we are actively working on it. We know there's a really big need for it. So do know that progress is being made there.
Awesome. And just a tip as well, all of the sessions that Amanda talked about from the Microsoft Business Applications Summit, which was a conference that was held in June, all of those sessions are recorded and available in the community in the MBAS gallery. So you don't have to go to YouTube, you stay right in the community for those. Okay, so our next question is about themes again from Chris S. Mm-hmm. Will there be an option to customize theme colors in Power BI apps? We would like to use our brand colors within the service.
I see. I don't know specific timelines for that because I work on the desktop and not in the service team, but I know that they have heard that ask several times already, at least probably quite a bit. So I'm gonna make an assumption for them and say that they are at least considering adding it, if not going to add it. But do keep giving that feedback because that does influence what they choose to work on.
Awesome. Okay, our next question from Sarah Bannon. Any update we can expect for matrix visuals?
We do have a few features planned for the matrix. Something we are investigating now, and this is just an investigation, so don't expect it next month, but there is a very highly voted idea on our user voice site around conditional formatting of the sub and grand totals. So we are doing an investigation into what that would take. So we're looking into adding that hopefully to our matrix visual in the somewhat near future.
Okay. And then another question from Danny Dennison, Power BI native for Mac? Question mark. With the smiley face, winky smiley face.
Given the winky smiley face, I'm going to assume you know the answer to this, but we aren't planning, to be blunt, to add a Power BI desktop client for Mac right now. It's not on our roadmap, but what we are doing is working towards getting a full editing experience and authoring experience in the web. And so then it's pretty much OS independent. You can be on any OS and be able to have full editing capabilities in the web and be able to do your job that way. You can already see hints of that. So, you know, like with PQ in the web and data flows, you can already see that query functionality showing up in the Power BI service. And we do have it on our roadmap to work on modeling on the web as well to get you, you know, all the way there.
Awesome. Okay. A question from DM. Regarding the custom import fonts via themes, would that work for Power BI files published to an embedded portal website?
It should still work. Again, assuming whoever's viewing that embedded report needs to also have the font installed. So you could probably make some assumptions like Office installs a bunch of fonts automatically. So if you know everyone uses Office, you know, all those fonts are probably going to be there. If it's corporate font, it will probably be there internally. So again, assuming whoever's viewing the embedded report has the font, it should still work.
Okay, great. A question from Wim, I'm not quite sure of this. He says, do we stay in 2020 on monthly updates of Power BI Desktop? So I'm thinking this means that you'll continue doing your monthly updates, and will we continue having previews in the community in advance? So I am going to say that this is definitely the direction we're headed, and each month you can pre-register for these sneak peeks. But this is the first time we're doing this, so we know Amanda's been out there for a long time doing our monthly updates, so we're happy to have her in the community, and we hope we can continue this if everybody likes this.
Yes, but do give us, you know, feedback afterwards so we can figure out what the, you know, what to keep, what to change.
Yep.
So your feedback does impact these kind of things.
Most definitely. Okay, our next question is from Angelo, and this is a little tricky. Do you have any plans to fix the unresponsiveness of the ribbon? It fails several times a day.
Great news. This new ribbon does not have that problem. So once you get the November release, turn on the preview and the new ribbon will not have that. It has all those reliability issues and freezing that you experienced before. No more. Nice new ribbon solves all your problems.
Awesome. Great. All right, so from Emily, what is the primary focus of the Power BI Desktop dev team in the near future? Formatting, new visuals, UI changes, or data prep connectivity updates? Do you feel that the team is pivoting from rapid visual formatting changes to more substantial or complicated updates?
Yeah, I would say obviously with it, when you look at the dev team as a whole, there's different subgroups that are focused on different things. So, we have a team that is focused on reporting and visuals. We have a team that's looking into web modeling. So it's a very diverse set of things. But I would say that, specifically because you mentioned a lot of formatting and visual stuff. A lot of our work now in that scope is looking at more bigger and broader features. So improving the usability of theming, or, the new AI visuals is another good thing that's coming out of, the reporting space right now. So we feel like, while we know we're not done, not saying we're done, but we know we have a fairly, good base in terms of formatting. And so while we are continuing to look at that, there's also a lot of usability and improvements that are bigger that we want to focus on for a little while.
Okay. Our next question from Anonymous. Is it possible to tweak the behavior of objects like the HTML via a Power BI file? I am trying to adjust how the actions behave.
What I think I understood from the question, and sorry if it's wrong, but what I think I understand is you want to be able to tweak, when you said actions, my mind went to actions on buttons. So if that's what you're looking for, no, right now you can't dynamically change the action type or say the bookmark, but we have heard that request. So on that side, good feedback. If it was a little more generic, because you also mentioned HTML, we don't let you dynamically change any of the HTML content of say the Power BI report, and that's not on our roadmap right now, any kind of dynamic HTML or CSS changes.
Okay, great. Okay, well, that's about the time we have for questions. So I want to thank you so much, Amanda, for sharing your time with us. And
yeah, I'm glad I was able to come and answer all of your questions. And of course, we will continue to try and answer any of the questions we missed as well.
Yes, and so I just kind of want to share also, again, thank you, Amanda, for this. We will be following up with the unanswered questions. We will be posting them in the community in the blog post where you had made your reservation. But we have one more announcement for you here, that we are going to have an exclusive contest just for those people who received the invitation to this session. This contest is only for this audience, and for between now and November 30th, if you contribute a blog post or a gallery post with a AAA event tag on it, it will be qualified. You can tweet it to drive kudos using hashtag Power BI and hashtag Kudopalooza. And this will qualify you for random swag. It will also qualify for a review and recognition by the feature owner, because each of these products each of these features that Amanda is demoing, there are people behind the scenes that are driving these, that are creating these, getting feedback. So your feedback and your use of these features is very valuable to us, and we want you to go out, take this advanced knowledge that you have to start doing some research. As soon as the release comes out, create a blog or gallery post and show people what it is that you know about the feature, and you can help them. The winners will be announced in December. Also going on in our community, if you've seen ongoing, we have what's called Community Kudopalooza. And on a regular basis, we will have opportunities for you to win swag just by kudoing certain posts. And the final announcement is next in our AAA series is Ask Amir Anything. So we want you to stay tuned to the community for getting your reservation for that spot as well. So with that, we're at the top of the hour. Thank you again, Amanda. This was an awesome session. I really appreciate it. And thank you everyone for joining us. Thanks. Bye-bye.